Hello everyone, welcome back to Milk and Cookies Total War. This is Andy Pride, and today I have a nice little 2v2 replay for you. A lot of people have been messaging me saying they don't know how to beat FotS Samurai armies with vanilla Shogun 2. And so I thought that I would do a little bit of a tutorial for you. Today I'm playing with my friend 50 Bomb, and me and him are actually 52-0 on the 2v2 leaderboards. We've never lost. And a lot of those wins have come against FotS Samurai players. And so I thought I would share some of my tips and tactics, strategies for playing against FotS Samurai. And let's jump right in and look at the army setups. 50 Bomb has some Naginata attendants and sword attendants up front, 3 of each. He has a Nodachi Corps. I think a Nodachi Corps is fantastic against FotS Samurai. Their ability to use Bonsai for the speed boost and the unbreakable morale and the increase in attack is really helpful. And if you're going to be rushing FotS Samurai, I think Nodachis are probably the way to go. And he has some good cav in the back here. He has some Naginata Warrior Monk cav, some Yari cav, and he has attendants on each flank. And over here, our opponents were Blixery and Robbie Mile, and Blixery actually just won a FotS Samurai tournament, the beta call-out number 8, I believe. And so he's actually quite a good FotS Samurai player. He's got some Black Tortoises up front, some Spear Levy, Meat Shields, some Shogatai, and later on in the battle you'll see he brought some ridiculous cavalry, 24 attack Yariki, and he also has a Carbine Cav. And over here, looking at Robbie Miles' setup, he has some 23 attack Shogatai, some Spear Levy Meat Shields, and some Imperial Infantry. And so let's jump right in and press play and look at my army setup. Now I've modified my anti-FotS Samurai build since this battle. This was a while ago, but at the moment I have some Naginata attendant meat shields up front and some katanas, 23 attack, and 2 Nodachis, 125 attack, 121 attack, some light cav and some Yari cav, just to deal with the enemy Yari key. And one modification I've made is that I now usually bring 2 Yari Ashigaru in between the meat shields and my Nodachis, because the attendants, while they're a great meat shield, bullets can still go through them because they're in loose formation and hit your guys behind. So you want to have some solid meat shields as well, like Yari Ashigaru, to deter cavalry charges and to block bullets. And I forgot to mention, I also have a Yari Samurai with Hold Firm. So that's going to be a really good unit. If my line ever starts to waver, I'm going to use that and be able to pop Hold Firm. And the first engagement in this battle is going to be on my side. Robbie Miles is going to bring up his Imperial Guard Cav, and I don't want him shooting at me at all with that. And so I'm going straight for the hill in the woods, and I'm going to try to take out the Imperial Guard Cav with my Light Cav and catch it with the rest of my units. Imperial Guard Cav will beat Light Cav one-on-one in melee, but I still want to do as much damage to that as I can and catch it with my Yari Cav, but he does pull out with some casualties. And he's going to want a cavalry engagement, and I definitely do not want to give him one because he has better cav than me. He has 24 attack Yariki, so I'm just going to pull back and bring my attendants up front to make sure that he can't. And right now I'm taking a position behind the wood so he can't shoot at me, and just get the high ground to make sure that he can't get good shots off on me. Over on 50 Bomb's side, let's go take a look at that. He is advancing on Blixery, and he's bringing his cav, his light cav, his warrior monk cav, and Yari cav all the way around on the right flank. And he's capturing the farmhouse, which is going to be really good. We want to be able to catch those FotS Samurai line units as they pull back. And so the farmhouse is going to be really good at making us able to catch them. And he's also trying to make sure that Robbie Mile doesn't capture the sword dojo, but they will end up getting that, and they'll end up having 26 attack Yariki, which is a pretty scary cavalry. But I'm just gonna chill for a little bit and wait for 50 Bomb to have his engagement. I would have to attack straight across the open plain, but 50 Bomb is in a better position. He can approach with the trees and the hills covering some of his approach. But Blixer's getting some shots off with his Black Tortoise Force and doing a good job of doing a double line fire, which is a good idea to when you're playing against Shogun 2. You want to get multiple waves of fire going and retreat the first line. and he's doing that. But we do have Yamabushi Guide each, and so we'll be able to catch up to any units that are running away in water. And we have the farmhouse as well, so we're running faster than them. And 50 Bomb is already into melee, and he's taken very limited casualties on his no-dachis, which is always good. If you can get into melee without taking casualties from guns, you're in good shape. And his spear levy has already started to waver and is routing, and 50 Bomb is already getting his cavalry over on the left flank into Blixery's Tortoise Force, and he's just tying every unit down he can. He's flanking his cavalry all the way around, but he is going to lose that cav fight. I mean, there's not much you can do against 17 attack and 23 attack Yariki. But he is doing a good job of shutting up all the guns he can in melee. And the bonsai for his no-dachis and Inspire is really, really important. And he also has a Yari Samurai with Hold Firm, so that's a great unit to have in your center there. So he's doing a great job meat shielding, and Blixery is continuing to pull back, but his attendants and no-dachis are still catching up. And remember, Bonsai is great for the morale boost and for the speed boost, so that's one reason why you want to bring no-dachis. But Blixery's line is starting to waver a little bit, and he's pulling back, and we're going to quickly shift over to my side because my attack on the open plain is coming. And now this is why I say that beating Flawless Samurai can be easy. Now these are two really good players, and I'm not going to play particularly great, but just by rushing and meat shielding properly with my attendants, I'm able to do a lot of damage to him. I'm not going to tell you who wins this game because it does end up being very close, but my melee rush is coming. Robbie Miles sends a Yariki up front. I try to block it with a light cav, and I do get a little bit blobbed up on my left side. But on the right, I'm breaking through his meat shields, and I want to get to the line infantry as soon as I possibly can. Pop in the Bonsai for the speed boost and the morale boost. And I've already broken through the spear levies, and I'm going to get into his Imperial Guard infantry, who already do have 128 kills, but most of those are on meat shields. So remember, just keep those meat shields up front, and you should be okay. My katanas are into melee. Katanas are great versus Flawless Samurai. I still prefer no-dachis, but it's hard to go wrong with 23 attack katanas. And I'm breaking through. I've done a lot of damage to his Imperial Guard infantry, but he's being smart. He's continuing to pull back once he gets some shots off, and he does have a shooter gen as well, so that's going to be a pretty dangerous unit I'm going to have to take care of. And his 25 attack Yariki is doing a lot of damage to my no-dachis, but they aren't going to rout because they're in Bonsai right now. And my generals stand and fight, and I've finally broken through the left flank, and a lot of his guys are wavering, but some of them are going to come back. And here comes Blixery's 26 attack Yariki into my katanas, and I'm going to lose that unit. Really, really powerful cavalry. That's one benefit Flawless Samurai has over Shogun. I'm into his Imperial infantry over on my right and doing as much damage as I can, but they do have some cavalry and they still have their generals, and so while this is looking pretty close, they can definitely still pull this out. And 50 Bomb with the units he has remaining is coming over to assist me. But the biggest threat right now is his cavalry, and as you saw, I had a micro latch and he just caught my general, and so I need to quickly pull him out and get them tied down with my Naginata attendants. And if you notice, I still have my Yari Samurai, and they still have 110 men left in the unit, so they're still going to be really important. And they have the advance rapidly, which is going to be huge for me, because if any of his line infantry try to kite away from me, I'll be able to catch them with that. Right now, we're all just trying to regroup right now. I'm trying to catch his shooter general with my leadership general. It is a leadership general, but it has much better melee stats, so I'm still able to use him as a melee general in this battle and try to catch up to his gun gen. But I don't want to leave him in there too long, because if he gets a shot off on my general, we might be in trouble. His spear levy have stopped routing and have come back, and I'm going to kill those as quickly as possible, just get rid of the melee troops so I can focus on the more important units. And Blixery now only has 2 Black Tortoise forces on one side of our lines and Yariki very depleted on the other, and they're just going to try to surround us. But right now, we need to keep our generals alive and make sure that there's no morale shock that might make us lose this battle. And I am going to send my Yari Samurai forward, but I quickly realize that's a mistake because he has a Black Tortoise force and he's going to get a shot off on them. And so I bring my meat shields, my Naginata attendants up forward first, so they can absorb most of the shots. and we are gonna. The balance bar still says that it's in their favor, even though I think that we are in pretty good shape right now. We just need to be able to catch up to them, and my Yari Samurai will be a good job of that. It'll do a good job of that. I just popped advanced rapidly, so they're gonna run really fast, and I'm gonna try to tie down the rest of their units, and use my general to make sure they can't retreat, because that's my only cavalry unit left. So my Yari Samurai are running really fast. They're about to catch up to them in melee, and I'm gonna make sure that he can't pull away with my general. But I definitely need to be careful this Yariki that's coming up behind my general. If they catch my gen, that'd be really bad. So I quickly decide to let my gen continue chasing the line infantry and pull my Yari Samurai back to take care of the Yariki, because that's the biggest threat at the moment. My Naginata tenant's just caught up to his other line infantry unit, and they will win that in melee. As you can see, he's already wavering, and his Yariki is the only thing not wavering, and now they are wavering as well. 50 bomb cleared up the other side, and Robbie Miles' general is the only unit left on the battlefield now, and will rout very soon. So that was a really close game. As you can see, me and 50 had almost no units left. That was actually one of the closer ones we've had. Usually we do a really good job of shutting down FotS Samurai, but they played really well. Did a good job of hiding away, but it wasn't enough, and we ended up pulling out by the slightest of margins. So we're going to meet you on the stat screen, and I will see you in a minute. Alright, welcome back everybody to the stat screen. Before we get into the stats, I want to talk a couple minutes about just stats you want to, or strategies rather, that you want to use when you're playing against FotS Samurai, when you're using vanilla Shogun 2. Like I said earlier in the battle, a lot of people have been asking me about strategies for beating FotS Samurai, and some people were saying like, well, I don't have 200 range bows, because in my earlier videos I was talking about how good 200 range bows are against FotS Samurai, and really, while I totally stand by that statement, 200 range bows are great, you don't need them to play FotS Samurai. In fact, I think the easiest way to beat FotS Samurai is a straight rush. And really, when you're playing against gun units, what you want to do, obviously, you want to meet shield with attendants up front, and then have a solid line of meet shields after that. So I use 2 Yari Ashigaru, because those will ward off cavalry, and they're great for blocking bullets as well. And then I think a sword core works best. A Nodachi core is great. If you want to run a katana core and only have katana units, that's fine. That will work good for you. I do think Nodachis are a little bit better, but yeah, so you want to meet shield properly, and then for cavalry, if you can get really good cavalry, like 19 attack Yari Cav, that's what I like to use. Bring 2 or 3 units of those. That's really good, because you will be able to beat a lot of Yariki in one-on-one melee. If you don't have the clan tokens for that, I honestly bring light cav just to block charges and make sure that their cavalry can't get into your infantry is really good. Light cavalry is the most cost-effective cavalry in the game, because really, as soon as you get into melee, you're probably going to beat FotS Samurai, at least in my experience. And so if you can block enemy cavalry and make sure they don't flank you, you're going to be in good shape. And another thing about that is terrain. Terrain is extremely important, and you should always use that as your friend when you're playing and rushing against FotS Samurai. Think about it, a gun unit isn't going to be able to shoot at you if you're approaching from behind a hill. So maps like Crossroads, where there's just a ton of hills right in the middle ridge, I mean, a lot of players don't even think about that when they're, and that is one thing FotS Samurai players should always do, is they should always zoom down and look at the terrain and see if they have a clear line of sight. Because if their guns don't have a clear line of sight, and they put themselves too close to a ridge or a hill, then they can screw themselves over, and you can easily get into melee. So if you saw 50 bomb in that battle, he purposely approached over the ridge and through the trees so that Blixery's line units had less angles to shoot at him, and that's a really good idea. As you saw, I did that, except for the final approach, because I needed to fight Robbie Mile before Blixery sent his cavalry over. But normally you don't want to rush straight over flat terrain on a map like Rice Fields. It can be hard. But again, if you properly meet shield and you tie down enemy FotS Samurai cavalry and just get into melee, it's pretty easy to beat them. And one other thing I do want to mention is that if you only have vanilla units and you don't have good sword veterans, first off, you should get sword veterans, because even to compete in regular Shogun 2 versus Shogun 2, you need good swords. But if you only have vanilla units between vanilla katanas and vanilla nodachis, I know I've said a couple times this battle that nodachis are better. They're also better as vanilla units because they have a higher base attack and they have bonsai, which is without a doubt one of the best abilities in the game. So yeah, you want to, with retainers, also I just want to quickly mention retainers. Yamabushi Guide is great. It gives you a 10% or a 20% decrease in the penalty over running rough terrain, so you can close the distance between Follow Samurai a lot quicker. And if you're running a Nodachi or Katana Samurai core, you want to use sword retainers, obviously. So if you have the fortune of having Blade Master, use that. Use Yagyu, and then just try to buff up your units as best you can. Infantry officer is really good too, because that gives you a +1 morale bonus, and morale is definitely important when you're running straight into gunfire. So that's all I have to say for that battle. I want to thank 50 Bomb for playing with me and being such a sexy beast, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I might do a couple more battles against Follow Samurai, do some more tutorial vids to help you guys out if you have more questions. So hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching. See you later.